In January 2026, rural India was more optimistic than ever. However, after 4 months, this optimism has faded away. Same country, same survey, and probably the same people. So, what changed, and why should consumer businesses be more worried about it? But before we jump into conclusions, let us understand what exactly are we looking at. Every 2 months, RBI asks thousands of citizens of rural India one simple question. What do they feel about the future when it comes to economy, jobs, spending, income, and prices? For each of these parameters, RBI measures the balance of response percentages and then takes an average of these balances and adds to 100 to derive something called the Future Expectation Index. Think of it like a report card of exactly how rural India is feeling about the future. Let's take a look at the FEI trend line. Throughout 2025, rural India kept feeling more optimistic. Month on month, the expectations improved. And then came January 2026. It was the highest reading ever. Anybody who would have written the story then would have written a really positive story of rising confidence. But then a twist was about to come. In just 4 months, the index has fallen off a cliff. From the highest ever in the month of January to the lowest ever in May. And this is not a gradual decline, not a correction, but a crash. I'm not saying people are hopeless right now because the FEI is still above 100. But the level of optimism that has taken a severe hit. At this point, you might think inflation is the culprit, and rural India might be terrified about the prices. It sounds logical as well, but let's deep dive into the details. And if we break down this survey into its elements, there is something interesting that appears. People were pessimistic about the prices in January, and they continue to be so in May. There is no delta out there that can explain this cliff. The bigger story lies elsewhere. So this is exactly what is happening now. The optimism around spends is decreasing, the optimism around income is decreasing, and the optimism around employment is decreasing. And this reducing gap between pessimist and optimist is clearly suggesting that the concerns of rural India are not just centered around prices. Rural India currently is bothered about its capability to earn and spend with an existing scenario of pessimism around prices. But why is it concerning? In a scenario of reduced optimism, people may still be spending on their essentials, but they will reduce their spends on discretionary items. They might just delay the upgrade or cancel the purchase plans. This clearly shows in the discretionary spends data as well. The optimism around discretionary spends has also seen a cliff. From the highest ever in March 2026 to one of the lowest in May 2026. And this clearly shows the reduced intentions of the rural consumers to spend in the future. And this needs your attention. That's it for this week. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.